I've got exactly 2 weeks until my FAA check ride, and those 2 weeks should probably be full of flying and studying. Except, life doesn't really work that way. This week, I have work, flight lessons, I have a trip planned to Miami for the World Cup, and then right after, I'm going to South Carolina for my little sister's wedding. And despite everything going on, I still have to be ready to nail my check ride, because steep turns don't care that my sister's getting married, and my stalls could care less that I have tickets to the World Cup game. On the 19th, it's Judgment Day, and it's up to me. And to be honest, that's why most people say you have to put off your life to chase a crazy dream like this. And obviously, I don't think that's true. But let's find out. Close your eyes, because my instructor is about to turn my inner ear into a margarita. This is the unusual attitudes drill. He's actively shaking me up like a soda can in a paint mixer, so I'm completely 100% disoriented before I open my eyes. Boom, hands off, in total chaos. The camera can't show it, but my body is lying to me. I have no clue which way is up, and we're already screaming towards the earth at minus 2,000 feet per minute. The protocol for a nose down attitude: power back, wings level, smoothly pull up, right on the ragged edge of the maneuvering speed. And boom, we're recovered. And give me a subscribe if you want to see if my stomach survived the rest of this flight. Welcome to slow flight, which looks incredibly boring. But inside the cockpit, absolute terror. We are intentionally flying this airplane as slow as physically possible without falling out of the sky. Look at the airspeed. We are hanging on by a thread. The controls feel like literal mush right now. If I pull back just a fraction too much, the wings quit flying and we drop. It's a balancing act on a razor's edge, but mastering this is how you truly learn the airplane's absolute limits. And right now, I'm literally full power, but because we're configured dirty, this plane refuses to climb. Whether you're wrestling a crosswind on landing or during a low altitude go-around, it's important to know the limits. Now, we take that slow flight and push it over the edge into a power-off stall. Step 1, push the nose down and pull the throttle to idle. The engine goes quiet and the cockpit gets eerie. We start pitching up to simulate landing. Listen to that. That was the stall horn screaming at us. The wings were literally gasping for air, and we pushed the aerodynamics until the limit. The airplane physically gave up. Now it's full throttle, smash that first notch of flaps out immediately so we can actually climb. Unlike slow flight, we aren't staying dirty. Once we get a positive rate, we drop another 10 degrees, then we safely step the rest out at VY and a positive rate. Next up, steep turns. This is one of those maneuvers that looks pretty smooth from the outside, but inside the cockpit, you're constantly making tiny corrections. The FAA only gives you 100 feet of altitude, 5 degrees of bank, and 10 degrees on the rollout. As I roll into 45 degrees, the airplane immediately wants to sink because some of the wing's lift is now pulling us through the turn instead of holding us up. So I'm adding just a touch of power, a little back pressure, and constantly scanning between the horizon and my instruments. One full circle, right back to the heading I started on. Now, the other direction. And honestly, this side always feels different. The view outside the windshield changes, the sight picture changes, and suddenly you're doing the same exact maneuver that somehow feels completely new. The whole time, I'm chasing these tiny corrections. Just enough back pressure, just enough rudder, just enough bank, just to keep everything inside those ACS limits. It doesn't look dramatic from the ground, but trust me, your brain is working overtime. Alright, one last maneuver before we get out of the practice area. This one's called a forward slip, and it's basically our emergency brake in the sky. Today we're going to be landing without flaps, which means we're carrying more energy than normal. To lose that extra altitude without picking up speed, we cross-control the plane. The rudder goes one way while the aileron goes the other, and suddenly we're flying through the air sideways. From the inside the cockpit, it feels completely wrong. The runway is out one side of the windshield, the wind is pushing against the fuselage, and it feels like the airplane is arguing with itself. But that's exactly what you want. The drag lets us come down steeper without building up speed, and just before touchdown, we smoothly straighten everything back out. We touched down, but my day was far from over, because in just a few hours, I was headed to Miami for something I've been looking forward to since Christmas. One thing I didn't expect when I started flight training: life doesn't exactly slow down. The next morning, I was trading in my headset for a Uruguay jersey. And apparently, risking $220 because confidence is free. Miami was hosting the World Cup, and there was no way we were missing it. I've been to sporting events before, but I've never seen anything like this. Just like that, it was time to rumble. And before you knew it, Saudi was already on the board. And way later in the game, we finally tied them. And the game ended in a tie. Not very American. But I could swear the Saudis thought they won the World Cup because they were having a lot of fun. We had exactly one day left to enjoy Miami, so that's exactly what we did. Because that night, we were headed somewhere completely different. I fell asleep somewhere over Florida and woke up in the clouds. From Miami to the mountains. Honestly, after being in the city for a long time, there's no better feeling than getting out in the country. This place reminded me a lot of deer camping up north Michigan. And it was finally time for the big moment. That bottle's calling our name, and we ain't leaving till it's dry. We're about to get our minds right. Yeah, we can keep it going all night. Yeah, we're gonna drink until it's dry. It's funny. One week I'm practicing emergency procedures, and the next I'm watching my little sister get married. Low lights settling in, the room is picking Before I knew it, I was back where I seemed to spend half my life. In the sky, baby. I happened to catch a little bit of lightning from the storm that we were avoiding. Before you knew it, I was back in the sandy home of St. Petersburg. But now that we're finally home, there's something that I haven't told you guys. Alright, welcome to the debrief, and let's have a real talk. Social media might make it look really easy to travel and do everything while you're pursuing aviation, but to be honest, there's a tax that gets paid, and I felt that during all of this travel. Before I left for my sister's wedding or the World Cup, I felt like I was completely gonna nail my check ride. Like, my oral was great, my maneuvers were great, and then when I strapped back in when I got back, I paid the tax. Like, I was not flying as good, I wasn't as sharp. So to really be on it, you gotta stay on it. So next time I talk to you guys, I will either be a private pilot or I will have failed my check ride. So next video, you'll know which it is. I feel like I'm as ready as I'll ever be. I also know that I'll never feel totally ready. I've been told that a lot. So either way, it's gonna happen,
and I'm excited for the results because I know I'm going to pass, and I'm excited to move to IFR. I'll be honest, the private pilot now has been about 5 months, and it's really starting to drag on. I'm like getting a little bit old of doing the same maneuvers, going over the same stuff. And what's even more annoying is anytime that you think that you have it nailed down, there's another acronym that pops up or something that has never somehow been brought to your attention the entire time. And that's exactly what makes me nervous about doing the checkride is what happens when that does happen. You know, an acronym pops up or something happens that I've never been told, or I get asked a question I've never been asked. And well, it's probably that will happen. So I know that it's not about perfection. It's just about being a good, safe pilot. So, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Next video will be the start of my IFR series, unless I fail this check ride. But either way, you'll have to come back to see what happens. See you guys then.